Hi everyone. I just got back from Geneva, Switzerland, where I've been teaching at Juilliard Summer Performing Arts. It's a program for pre-college age students, and I've been teaching there the last 2 years. It's a great place to spend the summer. On my day off, I was able to visit the estate of Charlie Chaplin, where he lived for the last 25 years of his life. I'm a huge Chaplin fan, and this is in Vevey, Switzerland, up in the Alps on the lake. It is stunningly beautiful. They actually had Chaplin's own piano there, and I don't know if you know a lot about Charlie Chaplin. He wrote his own music for his own movies, in addition to everything else he did with them. And the piano was quietly covered, and the bench was kind of tucked in to make it very hard to play. There was no way I was not going to play his piano. It actually had been played on by Artur Rubinstein, Leopold Godowsky, Clara Haskell. I thought, there's no way I'm not going to play this piano. So I sat down and I thought, well, actually I stood above the piano and I thought, what would be a funny piece to play that would fit Chaplin? Here's a video of that moment. That little video was from Debussy's Golliwogg's Cakewalk, and the security came and stopped me very quickly, and I had to, promise I wouldn't do that again. It was fun, but it really made me think about humor in music, and there is so much humor that I think in a lot of styles, especially classical style, we often take for granted because we get this very warped sense of trying to play things perfectly or cleanly that we've actually forgotten the joke that is in place. And sometimes these jokes are it's not so much that they're ha 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 hilarious, but I think they're just very witty, and you've got to make sure you're always thinking about these witty things that are there constantly, especially in Mozart. I think if you're playing Mozart well and the audience isn't smiling, there's something seriously wrong. Let's take a look at the opening of Mozart's Sonata 570 in B flat, which sounds a little bit like this, and I think it's very funny. Now, what's so funny about that? First of all, look at the material that he gives us. He really gives us two very separate ideas. First, he gives us the world's, we'll call it either the world's most ingenious or the world's stupidest motif, simply based on this triad, this arpeggio that unfolds. It's the most inert, innocuous, simple theme. It's kind of pleasant small talk. It's like seeing someone that you marginally know in the grocery store and all you can think of to say is, nice day, isn't it? There's no drama, there's no pretense, there's really no substance either. But when you say, nice day, look at the answer. The answer is so long and wordy and complex. It's like, as you've said, it's a nice day, and they say, well, it's a pretty nice day, but I stopped by the DMV because my grandson lost my license when I had lent him my wallet, and he had to borrow my credit card, but it turned out there was a sale on these materials that he was trying to buy for his rifle association, and it's like way too much information for such a pleasant exchange, right? All arpeggio, and then all scale. And look how it ends. As if the person who gives all that information says, and what about you? They have this kind of very polite response after too much information. And to me, I think it's very witty, and it's really what propels, it's this contrast of ideas that propels the piece to go forward. Sometimes the opening statement of a classical sonata, whether it's witty or dramatic, but very frequently there is this opposition created from this contrasting, conflicted information. And I always think this is a little bit like the beginning of a novel. Now this is not a witty statement, but there's a beginning of a novel which, if I remember at the top of my head, goes something like this. Years later, when Colonel Buendia stood before the firing squad, he thought of the time that his father brought him to the jungle. And you read that and you say, what? And that's a novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's too much information that seems to have nothing to do with each other, and the point of it is it makes you want to read the next sentence or the next paragraph and so on. And so when we have the beginning of a sonata that starts with this very witty opposition, part of the plot of the piece is going to be the reconciliation of these two very conflicted and hilariously contrasting ideas. Don't forget the wit that is in this music. Sometimes it's easy to take for granted because you've done it 10,000 times in repetition to try and make it perfect. But in hearing the joke over and over, it's no longer as funny or as witty. But really, I think it's actually very odd, very, very wittily strange.